Show is in 50 minutes. First on BBC One, let's hit the road to London.
Hello and welcome to the 1997 London Motor Show. In the next 50 minutes we're going to be bringing you all the best from the world of motoring and some new Chevrolets.
Whether it's fast, fun or frolicsome, pretty, practical or pokey, if it's got four wheels, it will be here.
And of course you won't just be looking. The Top Gear team have been racking up the air miles and piling up the Tiger tokens to get behind the wheel of some of the most exciting cars on earth.
And they're all right here. The swoopy coupes and the curvy concepts, the humdrum hatchbacks and the sedate sedans. So sit back, relax, pour yourself a crumpet and butter a cup of tea, because ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's showtime.
Right, now, down to business with small, trendy off-roaders. In recent years, the Japanese have had things all their own way. But not anymore. Land Rover has waded into the market with the astonishingly good-looking Freelander. It goes on sale in January with prices starting as low as £15,000. So, good looks, good value. If they build them properly, they can't lose. The three-door convertible looks like a hoot, but I must be getting old because I'm more taken with this five-door estate. It's got a big interior, Land Rover off-road cred. I even like the dashboard. As far as engines are concerned, you've got a choice of two, a 2-litre turbo diesel or a 1.8 taken from the MG. Land Rover say this car will take anything that nature cares to throw at it. I know no one will ever take a car like this off-road, but it's nice to know that it could if you suddenly felt the need to drive around on your lawn. I have to say, the Japanese haven't faced competition as tough as this since Iwo Jima.
4x4s are going to be a big hit at this year's show, not least because of this modest little construction in front of me. There are 1,200 metres of turf, 35 tonnes of scaffold, 35 trees and an awful lot of water and mud. Alas, you won't be able to drive yourself round. What you do is you go to one of the participating 4x4 manufacturers, Mitsubishi, SsangYong, Suzuki, Land Rover, Subaru, and they will give you a token and you can form an orderly queue. You'll be driven round. But I have to say, the organisers might have saved themselves an awful lot of time and trouble if they'd taken the 4x4 to its natural habitat down the road, which is up a curb in Chelsea.
And off-road mania continues on the Mercedes stand with this chunky addition to their range, the M-Class. Cinemagoers may recognise it from this summer's Jurassic Park sequel. The first US-built Mercedes, it'll be available in the UK next autumn. It'll cost between £30,000 and £43,000 with a 3.2 V6 or a 4.3 V8. But all the dinosaurs in the lost world won't be able to compete with Mercedes-Benz first small car, the A-Class. When it was launched at the Geneva Motor Show last year, it received the sort of attention normally given to film stars. It'll be available in June next year here in the UK, and Jeremy's driven the first one in Britain.
The show is awash with ritzy-glitzy cars, but I want to talk about an itsy-bitsy alternative, because this is very probably the most important car to be launched for more than a generation. The Mercedes A-Class is something special. Never before have we seen anything quite like this. You see, it's shorter than a Metro, but inside there's more space than you'd find in a Golf or a C-Class Mercedes. Real, proper, fully grown adults can sit in the back, and behind them, there's room for their luggage. Mercedes has achieved the impossible by fitting 2 floors, and all the mechanical bits are fitted in the space between, even the engine. So there's no need for a long bonnet, or indeed any bonnet at all, because the motor is under my feet. It's good news in a crash too, because the big heavy lump is slammed back into the sandwich and not into the occupants. Apparently the A-Class is every bit as safe as a £30,000 E-Class. I think this car is utterly and completely brilliant, and yet I think the number of people who'll actually rush out to buy one is about 7. You see, the cheapest model will be £14,000. A luxurious 1.6 will be a colossal £17,000. And I'm sorry, but I don't care how clever a car is, I wouldn't pay that much for something that's shorter than a metro. The good news is that in time, every other car maker will copy this idea and sell us the finished product for a lot less. And we'll all buy them, and traffic jams will shrink, and parking spaces will be easier to find, and wildflowers will once again fill all the hedgerows. Mercedes invented the car in the first place, and now they've invented it again.
As trivia buffs will undoubtedly be aware, Mercedes-Benz are the world's oldest motor manufacturer. Or is it Daimler? Whatever, they're not the biggest. That's General Motors, who own Vauxhall, who last year sold 283,989 cars, accounting for 14.102% of a market that's currently worth 2,025,450 cars a year. The average cost of those cars was £12,500. And if you think that's interesting, then you need to get out of the house more. Still, here are 5 more fascinating motor show facts.
One new car that isn't here is Rover's long-awaited replacement for the Mini, which is due out in 2 years' time. Instead, they brought along a couple of current models decked out with retro accessories to show that there's life in the old car yet. So, you could go for a Union Jack roof, wood fittings, chrome wheel arches, sports pack. There are over 100 options to choose from. The small car market is as competitive as ever, so we sent along Top Gear new girl Vicky Butler-Henderson to check it out.
If you're after a motorised shopping trolley, now's the time to buy. The market's swarming with them.
Daihatsu's compact Core is £7,200 on the road. Fiat's Cinquecento Sporting is £7,450. The Spanish Seat Arosa costs £6,995. Ford's Ka is £7,995. And then there's Rove's Mini at £9,095. Daihatsu's Core is well equipped for the price with electric windows as standard. Its 850cc engine produces 42 brake horsepower.
But is it enough? Well, it's nippy enough through town, but it's no motorway cruiser. And when it comes to hills, leave your mates at the bottom. So, it's not going to set the world alight. Oh, hello.
Fiat Cinquecento start at £6,500, but for a bit more dosh, the Sporting's 54 brake horsepower and low ratio gearbox add a lot of pesto to your pasta. There's no power steering, but it's still a great drive, and it looks the business. A bit too frantic? Seat Arosa is a well-built runaround, as you'd expect with Volkswagen as a parent.
This feels like quality kit. The dash is from the VW Polo, and with power-assisted steering as standard, it's a steal at under £7,000. It seems quite mature, but with a 1-litre engine, will it be like the Core when it comes to the crunch?
Oh, come on! helps if you're in a Ford Ka. With the lusty 1.3 litre from the Fiesta, the funky Ka's at home in or out of town. It's also not that much smaller inside than its sensible sister. But it's the design details that get you talking. Spin that glove box, baby.
If Ford's Ka is today's trendy townie, where does that leave the 38-year-old Mini?
64 bhp makes it the quickest car here, and although it lacks the Ford's power steering, the fun factor's sky high. But the boot's still tiny, there's no fifth gear, and for £9,000 you can buy bigger and better.
Both the Seat and Daihatsu are great value for money. The Cinquecento and the Mini are huge fun to drive. But if you can live with the styling, and I know I can, the Ford Ka is an excellent all-rounder.
One thing I've noticed cruising around the show is that the Americans appear to be coming, and I'm delighted to say bringing their low, low prices with them. From next year, you'll be able to go into a Vauxhall garage and say, no, I don't want a Vectra. I'd rather spend my £18,750 on that. It's the Chevrolet Camaro Coupe, and it's certainly striking, but it's not very nice to drive, and the steering wheel will be on the wrong side. And anyway, it's going to be completely overshadowed by its bigger brother, the Corvette. It's also coming here with left-hand drive. Coupe is £36,000 and the convertible is £40,000. Now that's good value, especially as its 5.7-litre V8 engine only needs a service every 100,000 miles. It's very good value when you think it gets from 0 to 60 in 4.7 seconds and can hit 175. And it's mind-blowing when you see just how many gadgets are thrown in as standard. I'm told it's even nice to drive, which will make a change, because in the past I'd rather have swum through Sellafield's cooling tanks than drive a Corvette. They were just awful. But then, what do I know? I never used to like the 911. There is, however, a new one at the show, and Tiff has been driving it. Well, Timmy, my old mate, 3 questions for you. Is it better than the old one? Is it nice to drive? And in your case, most importantly, does it make you more attractive?
And the answers are yes, very, and I'm sure it would. Oh, you want me to show you? It would be my pleasure. The Porsche 911 has been with us for 34 years, about a third of the history of the motor car itself. True, it's had the odd update or two, but now, for the very first time, we have an all-new 911. And yes, it's better in almost every way. The engine is still hung out the back, but it's now water-cooled, 3.4 litres, and punches out an awesome 300 horsepower. As a driving experience, this is second to none. Superb handling, steering that just feels as you want it to feel, brilliant brakes, a slick 6-speed gearbox, and 7,500 revs to play with. This is a use-it-every-day supercar. The new 911 completes the new Porsche lineup for the next century, and some might not like the fact that the front of the Boxster is the same as the 911. Twins, almost. In fact, it was the 911 that was penned first, and then it was decided that the Boxster should inherit the new family look. It might upset some, but it's soon forgotten when you get behind the wheel. Is it fast? Well, 0 to 60 in 5 seconds and 171 miles an hour should be sufficient for most needs. The 911 has matured from a wild child into a sophisticated adult, a long-legged, long-distance cruiser that oozes quality from top to tail. The coupe is out now, the cabriolet next year, the turbo hopefully in 1999, and then the Targa in 2000-something. And the new price? Well, at just under £65,000, this coupe is actually about £500 cheaper than the old version. And will it help you attract the opposite sex? To be honest, I think you'll be having too much fun on your own to want to bother.
Well, back in the real world, Vauxhall are previewing the new Astra. Now, the company are keeping mum on prices, but they say it's going to be better value than the current model, which goes from 10,000 to 17,000.
Do you want more power? All this and more is yours. Show me! You've heard and seen the story. Now it's time to stop their searching and reveal the mystery. Cabaret Vauxhall presents New Astra!
On sale next spring as a 5-door or estate, Vauxhall claim the new Astra is its greenest model ever. Better exhaust emission, better economy, and with a 12-year rust warranty, well, it could age better than its owners. There'll be a sporty 3-door to follow and a saloon. Safety looms large, and to help keep your eyes on the road, you can have truly hands-free telephoning using steering wheel mounted controls. Vauxhall are also very proud of their OnStar navigation system, so much more convenient than a crumpled map. In fact, they describe it as part of a multi-layered personal mobility initiative. The current Astra is the UK's 4th best-selling car. The new one will have a fight on its hands, as this sector of the market is about to reach boiling point. The Fiat Bravo, Brava and the Renault Megane are stylish competitors, and the Escort promises a radical new look next year, not to mention the new VW Golf, which Quentin has been testing.
When I collected this Golf, I was all ready to throw my teddy out of the pram because I thought it was a TDI, a diesel. And I think diesels are despicable. That was until about 3 minutes ago, because this car is so good, it's enough to make a chap change his prejudices.
Because it is not slow, smelly and noisy, but really rather refined, and most important, it delivers almost as much torque as the very splendid VR6 Golf, which is fast. There will be 5 petrol engines and 3 diesels, everything from 1.4 to 2.3. Prices start from 12,000 for the 1.4 up to nearly 18,000 for the 150 brake GTI 1.8T.
And Volkswagen have always understood that God really is in the details.
It's hard to believe, but the new Golf is even better built than its very well-built forebear. To the touch, it feels just like a mini Mercedes. And with options like satellite navigation, air conditioning, heated seats and side airbags, this chunk of Prussian perfection has been moved seriously upmarket. My only concern is that it's lost some of the verve that made the first Golf GTI so narcotic. The steering could be slightly crisper, the handling a bit less soft, but refinement and vigour have never made easy bedfellows, which is why VW have decided to pitch their 4th generation Golf not as a rabble-rousing roller skate, but as one of the finest compact cars money can buy.
Volkswagen have achieved the impossible. They have turned the peppermint cream of hatchbacks into the creme brulee. The new Golf is an extremely sensible car.
All hatchbacks are sensible, except perhaps this one. It's a Seat Ibiza which has been breathed on by the company's British-based rally team. It produces 200 horsepower, so if you hit the throttle now, you'll be doing 60 miles an hour sometime yesterday. The Time Machine doesn't even have a sensible price. £40,000.
But if your name doesn't happen to be Richard Noble and you don't go supersonic to the shops very often, then you might be better off. Is Citroën Zara, the replacement for the ZX. The first thing you notice about it is, well, there's not much to notice. Citroën have played safe because they've decided that cautious styling sells cars. This 1.8 I'm driving has a smooth and comfortable ride, particularly for motorway driving. Although the floor pan is based on the ZX, they've done a lot of work on the soundproofing, which means it's a lot quieter. The emphasis is on a soft and easy ride, and I suspect the car is aimed at those who are interested in cruising in comfort rather than stomach-churning acceleration.
That's the kind of guy I am. While all the folks grow dizzy, I keep busy biding my time.
On board, the Zara has quite a few things that perhaps you wouldn't expect in a car of its class, like height and reach adjustable steering and the stereo controls being situated on the steering wheel. All the instruments are well laid out and come easily to hand, although I did find it took a bit of getting used to the electric window switches being situated on the panel here. In fact, I couldn't find them anywhere, and when I was groping around, I did find this rather useful little cubbyhole. Prices will range from $11,760 to over $16,000. Across all the model range, you do get lots of extras for your hard-earned dosh. Citroën claim it has the biggest interior and boot in its class. However, there's a bit of a problem visibility-wise. Chunky pillars and a small rear window can make overtaking and parking somewhat difficult. The Zara goes on sale from next month. This model will soon be followed by all the usual variants, although the 5-door hatch is the big seller in this sector. Citroën are hoping to move 40,000 Zaras a year, so there's no room for commercial uncertainty. They're playing it safe because they believe it's what us customers want. The Zara is a good value package in an uninspired body. I don't think I'd feel proud of it sitting on my drive. I guess it's one of those sorts of cars that you buy with your head, not your heart.
But we couldn't possibly do justice to any motor show without a peek at concept cars. Are they really visions of the future, or are they just the deranged doodlings of demented designers? Well, I'm afraid I haven't got a clue, particularly when it comes to the Peugeot runabout. Is this fish, fowl, flora, or fauna? I don't know. But I know a man who does. We have, at great expense, drafted in McLaren F1 designer Peter Stevens, who will apply his jaundiced eye and hopefully tell all.
Motor shows are all about selling cars, and yet a lot of manufacturers will spend up to £1.5 million on cars that you can't buy. Why? One of the reasons for presenting show cars can be to try and brighten up a stand full of boring cars. Toyota have tried to do this. Trouble is, you can already buy more exciting cars on some other stands than these sad little things. Some people's show cars are a clear indication of what's coming soon. That's what Ford are doing here with this concept coupe. The fascinating thing about this car is that it's all about lines rather than surfaces. In fact, what Ford have done is to paint it matte silver so that the attention is on the intersections of all the panels rather than on the shininess of them. If the Ford's all about shape, then the Jeep Icon is all about details. There are some wonderful little elements on it. For example, the door hinges. They're like little tiny pieces of sculpture. What Chrysler are telling us is that the spirit of the Jeep is safe with them. It's not going to become soft. They haven't forgotten its wartime origins. This show car's not about shape, it's really about the badge on the side. Daewoo originally were probably best known as people who would sell brand new second-hand cars. But now the company's grown up, they want to test the reaction of potential customers to the idea of a Daewoo sports car, hence this neat little roadster. One of the risks of bringing a show car to somewhere like Earl's Court is that you can shoot yourself in the foot. And that's what I think that Peugeot have done. On their stand, they've got what's probably one of the best-looking cars at the show, the new Peugeot Coupe. And yet the attention is focused on this monster. All you can say about it is that it is consistently bad. In fact, it's really rather vulgar. One of the most startling vehicles at Earl's Court is the Isuzu Varicross. And it's not a show car, it's for sale. It's got to be every designer's dream to develop a car just as a show vehicle, and then the company have such faith in what you did that they put it into production. I think it's excellent.
And if you'd like to alter the concept of your car, then undoubtedly the best place to do it is here at the Motor Shop. They've got all kinds of kit to transform the look, the sound, the style, even the smell of your car. Even the most mundane of motors can be made entirely more marvellous. And to prove the point, we've taken a far too sensible for its own good Seat and given it a bit of a makeover.
Sai da minha frente que eu quero passar, pois o samba está animado. O que eu quero é samba, este samba que é misto de maracatu. É samba de preto veio, samba de preto. Mas que nada, samba como esta tão legal, você não vai querer que eu chegue no final. Sai da minha frente que eu quero passar, pois o samba está animado. O que eu quero é samba, este samba que é misto de maracatu.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yes, it's all a question of taste. Much more restrained and much more expensive are the latest entries into the luxury car market. Kicking off with Cadillac. Their new STS and SLS will be the first caddies ever to be imported into the UK in right-hand drive form. And the new LS400 Lexus has over 1,700 modifications, and I have to admit, it's a car for which I have a particular soft spot. The new long-wheelbase Grand Espace costs anything between £22,000 and £27,000. It is posher, plusher and bigger than any Espace before. But if none of those are to your liking, there's always the latest offering from Saab, the new 9.5. And our man on the spot with the mangled metaphor and the sorry simile is our very own Jeremy Clarkson.
Thank you, Quentin. Anyway, this is the cheapest of the new 9.5s. It has a turbocharged 2-litre engine, it costs £21,000, and it isn't desperately handsome. Inside, it's spacious, comfy, well-equipped, and quiet. And next year, you'll be able to have ventilated seats which come with internal cooling fans to keep your underpants chilled. Not that the engine is capable of making them hot in the first place. 0 to 60 takes 10 seconds. The gearbox is poor, the handling is average, but the ride is very good. Remarkable when you remember this car shares a chassis with the Vauxhall Vectra. Overall then, this is a middle-order car which takes on the Germans and fails. Except for one thing. If you drive a BMW, everyone knows you're aggressive and you won't let people out of side turnings. If you drive a Mercedes, everyone knows you're the manager of a football club, or Quentin Wilson. If you have an Audi, you are a solicitor for the side parting and usually a mistress. But if you have a Saab, you are Mr. Mystery Man. Back in the 60s, the name Saab resonated with sportiness thanks to its rally cars. Then in the 70s along came massive bumpers, and it was a safety thing, right up to the moment when Volvo relieved itself all over their bonfire. Saab then went high-tech, developing a car with no steering wheel, something that surprisingly didn't catch on. Now they say their cars are like their jets. Yes, but Volvo, remember, makes the engines, and Saab also makes buses and trucks. So what we have here is a high-tech, low-tech, fast, slow, safe, sporty bus, truck, jet car. And because the image is so confused, it sends out no signals whatsoever to other road users. It is therefore a car for people who don't want to make a fuss. Nice people. No one has ever been carved up by someone driving a Saab. BMW may make better cars, but Saab drivers are much nicer people.
The 9.5 featured heavily on the Saab stand, as did another Swede, the aptly named Ulrika car. Now this year is Saab's 50th birthday, and talking of anniversaries, it'll be 50 years next year when the motor show first came back to Earls Court after the Second World War. Now because the motor show's in Birmingham next year, we've decided to celebrate early. In case you were wondering what the stars of the show were back in 1948, well, we've unearthed some very rare early archive footage from Crankshaft, the top gear of its day.
One motor car that is certain to be a sensational star of this year's show is this new, wonderful Jaguar XK 120. Personally, I think this is a jolly fine-looking beast and pay particular note to this newfangled streamlining. Here. Indeed, it is a vehicle of such unusual proportions that already, twice today, I have been asked by people if it is indeed a racing motor car. The answer is, it is not. It is a Grand Tourer and a credit to the British motor industry. This stupendous new Jaguar two-seater is powered by a 3.4-litre six-cylinder engine and costs £1,263, 3 shillings and 11 pence, including purchase tax. But what do the ladies think?
It's so stylish. Yes, please.
New from Morris Motors is the modern family car, the Morris Minor. It is designed by a Greek man called Alec Issigonis. As you can see, it is not like any normal car. Only time will tell if its looks can stand the test of time. Inside the Morris Minor are many new, modern and appealing features. The gears are actuated not from the column, but from the floor. And keen motorists will be pleased to know that the Morris Minor is fitted with trafficators. This is a very pleasant and thoroughly modern motor car with a new unitary body and no chassis. I am certain that the ladies will find it most agreeable.
Everything you could ask for the modern family. See?
But what if one does not want to motor just here? What if one wants to motor here? Or here? And one of the most prestigious names at this year's motor show, Rover, has the answer. They have designed a modern car for the land as well as the road. And it is called the Land Rover. This new farmer's motor car has aluminium coachwork and 2 differentials for arduous going. It is not, though, one thinks, one for the little woman. So it's hurrah. 3 cheers for 3 fine British motor cars that will lead the world. Hip hip hooray.
And if you were a wide-eyed adolescent at the 1948 motor show and picked up this brochure for the XK120, well then go and get it out of the loft because it's now worth £50. Of course, lots of folk will leave Earls Court with their knuckles dragging along the ground through the weight of a rainforest's worth of promotional bump. Jaguar give away 40,000. But if you fancy being a bit more discerning, then here are a couple of tips. Go for new cars like the Golf, Astra and 911. Failing that, the ones that the collectors want are the ones for shiny, expensive, high-performance tackle. Some things never change.
Volvo. Big joke. Ha ha! You see, the T5 changed all that with its horsepower and its fist-in-the-face acceleration. And now they're at it again with the T4. What they've done is taken an ordinary and harmless S40 saloon and slammed a turbo 1.8-litre engine under the bonnet. The price goes up to £21,000, but the performance goes up even more. 0 to 60 in 6.7 seconds, and the top speed is 141. It's impressive, right up to the moment when you see what Audi has done to its mid-range contender, the A4. This is one of the hottest cars at the show. It's the S4, which comes with 6 gears, 4-wheel drive, and 265 horsepower from its 6-cylinder, 30-valve, twin-turbocharged engine. Included in the enormous price of £36,000 for the saloon and £37,000 for the estate is a high-performance driving course. I should have thought a pilot's license would have been more appropriate. I mean, this thing's faster than anything made by Boeing. Oh, look, there's the new Alpha 156 over there. Tell you what, you go off and hear all about that with Michelle, and I'll just stay here and guard this.
The Italian instinct for design at its best. The GTV and the Spider, an irresistible twosome. Sadly, for anyone with children, are likely to remain just a dream. But before you teeter on the brink of a sensible decision, help is at hand. Alfa Romeo has delivered a four-door sports car with all the pizzazz and style to satisfy, and a pinch of practicality thrown in. This is the Alfa Romeo 156. Outside is a cunningly designed four-door in a coupe body. Inside, meticulous styling and the newly improved driving position, which doesn't demand major surgery to get behind the wheel. To give it that coupe look, chrome front door handles are the only ones to catch the eye. The back ones are discreetly hidden in the C-frame. The Italian interior is just gorgeous to look at, and everything is easy on the eye, except for this mock wooden centre console, which looks and feels really plasticky, which of course is exactly what it is. But what about Alfa's rock-bottom reputation for build quality and electrical appliances that actually work? Well, it looks as if Alfa have really taken all those could-do-better reviews to heart. They've had to, because the 156 is meant to catch the eye of the BMW and Audi buyer, and they're not prepared to exchange Teutonic perfectionism for Italian slapdash. This car doesn't drive like a saloon car. You really are in sports mode when you get behind this wheel. Of course, the Alfa Romeo twin-spark engine has always been its strongest point, and this one is no exception. It really does feel great to drive. If the coupe-esque line and performance isn't enough for those still yearning for a sports car, well, the Alfa designers are planning to give boy and girl racers a touch of Formula One with a paddle gear change option. As for me, a mere 24 hours in its company was enough. Those Italians really know how to seduce.
Stars shining bright above you. Night breezes seem to whisper, I love you. Birds singing in the sycamore tree. Dream a little dream of me. Say nighty-night and kiss me. Just hold me tight and tell me you'll miss me while I'm alone and blue as can be. Dream a little dream of me. Stars fading, but I linger on, dear. Still craving your kiss. I'm longing to linger.
Rather more practical around town is the latest offering from London Taxis International.
It's a two-seater mid-engine supercar. No, it's a taxi. Underneath, it's very similar to the old FX4 and shares the same 2.7-litre Nissan diesel engine, although this version is 30% greener. But up top, it's all new. The TX1 is longer, taller and wider than the old cab, and that means more room inside for the driver and the passengers. Back here, there's a child seat for the first time, a power output for your laptop or portable phone, and all of these seats fold out of the way to allow wheelchair access. And the driver gets a better deal too, with a decent stereo, air conditioning and this handsome wood finish, although the exposed screw heads are just a tad B&Q. The standard paint finish is black. Red is an option, but that does tend to make it look a bit like Postman Pat's van moonlighting. On-the-road price is $24,500, although you should get 20 years use and around 1 million miles out of it. However, if you fancy something a little less commercial, then how about Honda's new hot Integra R? Tiff has been trying it, and he loved it.
This is the first of a planned series of Type R Hondas to arrive in Britain, a racy version of their little-known Integra model, kitted out with a big wing on the back, some jazzy red Recaro seats, and a mock carbon fibre dash with radio and aircon removed to suit the image. But it's the engine that really makes this Type R Integra stand out. It's got the very latest Honda VTEC development, 1.8 litres, but the Honda system is the only one that changes the actual cam profile. So this engine below 5,800 revs is a 130 horsepower shopping engine. Over 5,800 revs, it's a 190 horsepower rocket ship. And it just sings to you. The actual rev limit is 8,500 revs you can take this engine up to, and it just loves it. If you listen to it chiming in here now at 5,000 revs, then it comes at from 6 to 8.5. It's music. The Integra R will be on sale at the end of the year with a price tag of around 23 grand. Only a few hundred will be imported and they'll all be white. Pitched against the stylish Fiat Coupe Turbo, it doesn't win on looks, but it should be a winner for those who prefer sophisticated engineering to brute force turbocharging.
And Honda is a brand that always scores very high in our annual Top Gear JD Power Customer Satisfaction Survey. Your chance to tell the motor industry what you really think of their products. And it's that time of year again. We are looking for drivers of N-plate cars. That's those registered between August the 1st, 1995 and the 31st of July, 1996. Doesn't matter what you drive, we want to hear from you. All you have to do is dial this number, 0800 991111. We send you a questionnaire, you fill it out, send it back, and it doesn't cost you a brass farthing. And don't worry, we'll flag that number up again at the end of the show. And believe me, it does matter. You mention JD Power to most car manufacturers, and they reach for the Prozac.
No motor show is complete without a new and incredible TVR. And here it is. A 7.7-litre V12, which they hope one day to race at Le Mans. Now the thing is, it isn't new, because I saw this last year at Birmingham. So I asked TVR boss Peter Wheeler what was new about it. Oh, he said, this one works. I just love the way these small British manufacturers operate, full-on amateur dramatics in the face of corporate globalisation. You've got Marlin from Devon, which sells its cars with a photo album chronicling the 3-month gestation period. You've got AC, who have decided it would be a good idea to put a supercharger in the Cobra. Then there's the Marcos, which could take on the Dodge Viper in a headbutting competition. And Spectre, who went bust earlier this year but are now back with a restyled 350 horsepower R45. Then there's dear old Lotus, who've just turned the Elise from one of the best handling cars in the world into what promises to be one of the fastest. Did I get to test it? Not a chance.
It's no good. I still haven't got enough money for a Lotus Elise. And I'm not alone in wanting one. There's an 18-month waiting list for this great handling, great-looking little car. Since its launch in 1995, it's had nothing but rave reviews. The only complaint has been that the Elise could do with a little more power. Well, now it's got it! Meet the Lotus Sport Elise. It's not a new car, but a series of modifications for people who want to race, sprint or hill climb, or just like their Lotuses, rorty and snorty. So what do you get? Sport seats and a detachable steering wheel, roll cage and a fire extinguisher. lighter, thinner bodywork front and rear, and some carbon trim that must have saved about a gram. But the big news is the race-tuned 190 brake horsepower 1.8 litre engine.
Right, I'll just show you how fast it is. 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, corner.
And boy does it corner.
Quick, but now its mid-range grunt is just something else. The brakes are even more powerful, and the gearbox is fabulously direct. The steering is just brilliant, perfectly weighted and full of feel. Oh, and there's an extra bonus, that proper sports car noise. But at £33,000, it's £12.5 grand more than the ordinary model, and the extra power is wasted unless you really are going to race it. If you're a well-heeled Lotus lover with a crash hat and overalls, you'll love it. But for the rest of us, the best small sports car in the world is still the Standard Elise.
That, then, is almost that, except to discuss the where, the when, the how and the why of the 1997 London Motor Show.
And if you're interested in coming down to see what's new, here are a few details. The Motor Show is on at the Earls Court Exhibition Centre, Warwick Road, London, SW5. The nearest tube station is Earls Court. Paddington and Victoria are the nearest rail stations. The show's on until October the 26th and is open daily from 9:30 a.m. Classic car buffs have their own special day on October the 21st, and there are 2 motorsport days on the 23rd and the 24th. It costs £10 for adults and £6 for under 12s to get in. And here's that number for our NREG car survey again. 0800 99 1111.
And that's pretty much it, but we really couldn't close without showing you the new Suzuki Baleno Estate. On the other hand, maybe we could. Thank you very much for watching. See you Thursday.
Stay with BBC One for a close show special. The team are in Paris next.